So you did a lot of work in horror before Eternals. What was the biggest surprise for you working on a film with just this scope and magnitude?
I mean, it was like going from 0 to 100. I mean, you just and it goes so fast, and it's honestly like a roller coaster. Like, you're excited for it, and then you're really nervous, and you get to the top, and you drop whatever. But it was just so, like, such a crazy experience throughout the entire thing. Um, I didn't really know how to comprehend a lot of it that was going on. Like, imagine your life just like flipping upside down, and everything's changed, and I mean, it was really crazy.
So one of the elements in the film that I really liked was that your characters like shaping a lot of mythology across eras and these stories that become Greek and world history. How cool was it to know that your character was kind of shaping humanity inside the MCU?
Yeah, there was a really fun line that I enjoyed. I think it was in, I'm pretty sure they kept it in the deleted scene at the museum, but I talk about how, like, you know pillars of our society, money, the way that the world is like aligned, like classes and things like that, it's not real. It's something that, like, I made up, and I just thought about that a lot, and I thought it was really cool that, like, she came up with like all of these structures in our daily life and like brought them throughout history. It was cool to think about, and I'm almost like she probably like wrote all these history books and everything that theoretically that humans study today. About that was
Yeah, and it's kind of deep because your powers are coming up with illusions, and money doesn't really have value. It's an illusion we put onto it, so it says a lot.
Yeah.
And then your character, despite being looking young in age, is thousands a year old. I know you've talked about kind of relating to that aspect and being an old soul, but what went into kind of playing that type of character?
I think Chloe saw that in me, and I think that was one of the reasons why I got the part, is because she saw that I was a lot of like Sprite in that way. A lot of the things that we did in preparation for our characters was really just like reading with each other. We got together a bunch of times and in her office at Pinewood, and we would all just like sit around, and we ordered food, and we would improv, or we would just talk, or we would run scenes. Um, and I think a lot of the preparation just had to do with getting to know each other and sort of relating ourselves to our characters in a way. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah. So out of all the Eternals, I thought Sprite had the most kind of like the most endearing arc to her character, and especially with becoming a human at the end. Can you speak to that story and how it sort of wraps up, but there's also, endless possibilities now that she is human?
Yeah, before the movie came out, everyone was like, "Well, what happened? Like, are they going to recast you? Or are they going to edit your face to make you look younger if you're in another movie?" I don't think people were really expecting me to turn human, but it's really exciting. It leaves up open so many possibilities for me to come back, or to explore what Sprite does on Earth. Or, I mean, we don't know if she has her powers or not. Like, we don't know any of these things, and I think it's going to be cool to explore.
Definitely. And the MCU is so much bigger than just films, it's a whole merchandising behemoth. How does it feel knowing your face is on so much stuff and kids are buying toys with your likeness on it? I mean, it has to be surreal.
It's weird. I gotta tell you, it's weird to like walk into Target and to see my face on a Lego set. And it's funny because people don't really recognize. Like, I'll be standing like right next to my toy, and some kid is like picking it up, and a couple of times I've actually been like, "That's me," and they're like, "Yeah, right," and they turn around and walk away. Like, people, it's really strange, and like all my friends buy it, and I'm like on their shelf. Like, it's strange. It's cool, but it's strange.
So in the very first trailer, there's a scene of Sprite kind of like singing karaoke aboard the jet. I don't think it made it into the film. Can you tell us a
No,
little
it
bit
did
about that
not.
scene?
Unfortunately, it did not make it into the film. I had to sing karaoke. It was very embarrassing in front of the whole crew, Angelina Jolie. Um, It was a funny day. I had to just sort of like, I've talked about this before, like when you're an actor, you have to like, you can't be embarrassed sometimes. You just have to like let it go and do the scene and do the embarrassing thing or cry or be emotional. And I think that was one of the hardest things I've had to do, to just sing my heart out in front of all those people. And it was crazy.
Yeah, and what an amazing cast! So many talented veteran actresses. Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek, Gemma Chan. Like, can you speak to just the learning experience it was to be around all those, and if you got any really helpful advice for going forward with your career?
Yeah, I was really grateful that that I came into the film. I knew who these people were, but I don't think I was really like super aware of the level of some of these people, you know? Like, I mean, I knew Angie from Maleficent, and I just didn't know them very well. So when I came into it, I wasn't as like starstruck as I probably should have been, which is a good thing. And so I was able to just like relax and be myself. And I'm like really close friends with a lot of these people. And I think like they're all like so incredibly talented, and they've worked their whole lives, and it's so special to see the way that other actors work. It's fun to just like watch the way they prepare and how they practice. And Angie and her stunts, like that was incredible. It was so feminine and beautiful, yet she was like a warrior, and that meant a lot to her to portray that really beautifully. And it's really inspirational to see how hard they work, how hard Selma works. It's just you know like crazy to me to and I it was like a master class basically, those 6 months shooting with all of these people. It was really special. It's an experience like I can't even, I don't know, like compress into like a sentence. Like I've learned so much. I could talk about it for hours.
I saw a great behind the scenes photo of you and Harry Styles. So you talked about not being starstruck among some of the actors, but what about Harry Styles?
Oh
Sure,
yeah.
you're a fan of his music.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean I've been listening to him with my family for forever. And like I got okay. It was funny. I sort of realized this after the fact, but when I was auditioning for the part, there was a day like we like broke for lunch during one of the screen test days. I hadn't gotten the part yet, and Chloe and Richard were talking, and they were talking about Harry Styles, and I just thought like, oh, they were having a conversation, and Chloe was like, yeah, he's so hot, and Richard was like, oh, he's not that hot. Like Richard was, it was like a funny conversation, and then during filming I found out that he was going to be in it, and I was like, "What?" Harry said, I was like, "What?" I was so confused. And I think they'd been planning it all along. They just didn't really tell us. And one day, Chloe was like, "Hey, are you busy Friday night? You want to go to? You wouldn't want to go to a Harry Styles concert, would you?" I was like, "Oh hell yeah!" And he had us like go into his like private trailer before, and it was just so like crazy and exciting. And I wanted to like post all about it and tell all my friends, because like all my friends are obsessed with him too. And but I couldn't say anything. It was torturous, but it was really cool. He's such a sweet, nice guy too. I loved getting to know him a little bit.
There you go. I knew you had to get starstruck about somebody.
Yeah. Well, I was starstruck about Richard Madden too.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, Eternals did really well in theaters, but due to the pandemic, not everybody was able to see it. Now that it's on Disney Plus and the home video release is coming out, how exciting is it to just know everybody can see the film now?
Yeah, I didn't even realize after it came out on Disney Plus, like it was like a whole nother like wave almost. Like I mean, it's not about the followers, but like all of a sudden my followers were going up, and I was like, what's that about? And mom was like, it came out on Disney. My mom was like, it came out on Disney Plus today. I was like, oh, like I didn't even realize that like a lot of people hadn't seen it yet. Um, but it's really cool. I think people are going to be able to, even people who have seen it already, to be able to like watch it again and analyze it more and understand it better. I think it's like really exciting to be able to see it at home. I know my family has played it like 10 times, I think, since it's been out in the house. I'm like, I walk in the room and I'm like, nice, you're watching it again.
Awesome. And you mentioned this, your family's just filled with actors. How awesome is it having that, support system that they kind of know what it's like, to be acting and, the struggles that can go with that.
Yeah, they're almost extra proud in a way, because they understand like I was working so hard and auditioning and getting rejected for years and years, and it's really discouraging, and to be able to like have like this success is crazy, and they all understand it so well, and I think like some people outside of it just see it as like, oh, you're a celebrity, it must be amazing, like, I mean, and it is, but there's also a lot of hard work that goes into it. But yeah, my family has been like incredibly supportive and proud. We had this little like family friends screening, and my siblings surprised me. They all wrote me like these the sweetest letters ever, and they read them to me, and I just started crying because they were just like the sweetest thing. They're like, we can't believe we're so proud of you, basically. But they're really supportive and sweet.
That is wonderful. You talked about, going through auditions, rejections. I saw that you tried out for Ant-Man and the Wasp before this. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
I auditioned for the original Ant-Man. That was my very first audition ever. Isn't that crazy? Like it's sort of like full circle almost. Uh,
Yeah.
it was super random. I was doing musical theater, and there was a coach in the audience, and he was like, "I want you to audition for this." And my mom was like, "No, like we're good." And he was like, "No, it's I can't tell you what it is. You have to sign this NDA, and then I can tell you." My mom was really confused, and she was like, "Okay, fine." Like a couple of our friends were like, "He's legit. Do it. Trust us. Like you should do this." And it was for Ant Man, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, this is a Marvel movie!" Whoa. And I think I'm pretty sure I got pretty close on it, and we were shocked, and all of a sudden like agents wanted to represent me, and it was like this like crazy start to my career, but it's sort of what motivated me, because to have like that exciting thing be possible, and then to not have it happen just one, I was like, I want to book the next one. I want to keep doing this, because that was like so exciting for me. But yeah, it's really full circle that that was my first audition, and then now I'm here. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then my last question, you have such a, promising career ahead of you. Are there any sort of films, maybe genres that you really want to do in the future that you haven't yet?
I I would love to do like a really good movie with I think with Leonardo DiCaprio, because I think he's just absolutely brilliant, like insane. He's just so incredible. I would love to do a movie with him, and I think genre wise, I think it would be fun to do like maybe like a romantic comedy, or like a period piece, like, because okay, for I love like old like clothes and fashion, like the dresses that girls used to wear. I think that would like being able to wear like a corset and like a beautiful dress. I don't know. That's just exciting for me. And I also think it's a whole different like style of acting, almost like the way they talked back then, and stuff like that. I just think that would be cool to explore and a new thing to try.
So there we go. We'll get a romantic period piece with Leonardo DiCaprio for sure.
Perfect. Perfect.